without any further ado, let me start bringing up our panelists. The first person that we're going to bring up is Lina Skorbach. She is the creative director for Shuyan Saga, really the only reason that this game ever got finished. And so please give a warm round of applause for Lina. Next up is the producer of Shuyan Saga and everything that's created at Lofty Sky Entertainment. He's also my boss, so please give a very, very loud round of applause for Jason Loftus. That's it, that's it. What really stands out for, I think, most people, and myself included in this game, is the artwork. And we're really fortunate to have the art director of Shuyan Saga with us here today. If you've read the Star Wars series from Dark Horse, Justice League of America, you've seen his work. He is one of the top comic artists to ever come out of China, and now he's here with us, and it's really awesome to welcome out DaXiong. And finally, the woman that we've all been waiting for, back-to-back People's Choice Award winner for her role as Catherine Chandler on Beauty and the Beast. We know her as Lana Lang, of course, from Smallville. She's currently in production on a new show for CBC that she's both producing and starring in called Burden of Truth. And she's the star of Shuyan Saga. So please welcome Kristin Kreuk. Cool, so we'll go through some questions. First one, let me toss it over to Jason. It's a new format, we're calling it an action graphic novel. Tell people just a little bit about this game, Shuyan, and what they can expect.
Well, it's basically just a comic book, but we're selling it on Steam.
All right.
No, the idea behind it was, we have a great comic artist here with DaXiong, but we always thought when we see these amazing action stories told through comics, it's the same thing when you enjoy like a martial arts movie. The first thing you want to do is you're like, I'm that hero, I want to go do that. So it was this idea, can we take the kind of visual novel format and integrate some of the best things that we like about interactive media and gaming, where we have this kind of immersiveness and you can take control of the character and kind of add that into the comic book. So it is a visual novel or a graphic novel where you're making choices and you have agency in terms of how the story evolves, and then when you get to the action sequences, they come alive as 3D Kung Fu combat gameplay.
Awesome. And DaXiong, can you tell us a little bit about where you drew your inspiration from for this game?
China.
Just from China. Can you give us a little more?
Okay. Okay. I think the China is a very long history. They have the very different dynasty, different culture, different language, different location, a lot of things. I choose one is from the Han Dynasty. I think the Han Dynasty is more creative because the Chinese people right now they call himself is the I'm Han people. This is Han is more closest game. But I should say that the Chinese people is very peaceful in the history. They are very elegant, very gentle, a lot of pride. Not like the game with the modern people that I always fight. And I want to just make the culture is close that show the nice things. It is that.
Awesome. All right. As I said before, we're going to do some original artwork. DaXiong has an easel set up here. DaXiong, if you want to start drawing something, whatever comes to mind.
Oh.
I think you know what the audience is looking for, though. Yeah.
Okay.
I think is your stuff still over there?
The panel there?
Yeah. So you can get started. He's going to be working on that. When we take questions, you can still direct any questions over to DaXiong.
There isn't anything on the paper currently.
Oh yeah, We're not faking everybody out.
Blank paper.
Okay.
You can't tell.
Sure. I don't know?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And
Okay. Sorry, what? Okay.
You're good. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can study it. I'll ask her a question.
Oh, okay, I see.
Should I talk slightly facing this way?
Yeah.
Everything goes good.
Okay.
Kristen,
Yes.
can you just tell us a little bit about what interested you in this project? What drew you to this?
Yeah, I really liked this project the art was beautiful, what they had shown me. I love that it was a Toronto-based company, and it's funny that DaXiong said this, but I do feel like there's a part of me, wow, you can hear your echo, it's crazy, that is like an old person. And I like that it wasn't a super violent, bloody, cynical game, that it was something that was hopeful, that followed the arc of this young woman finding herself and finding her internal strength so that she can save her kingdom, which she doesn't have the power to do when we start the game.
Awesome. Lina, you've been involved in the game from start to finish. It was a long journey. Can you just tell us a little bit about your creative process in this?
Yeah, it was a lot like a game of chess, because you had to think about all the moving little pieces that are coming together in the game. And so even when we were writing the scripts, you had to think of how's the music going to play out, what are the interactivity points, how does the dialogue branch into the game, and what is the magic formula for, giving the dialogue choices and, making gameplay and continuing that. So it was a really fun creative challenge.
And Kristen, the game's called Shuyan Saga. Can you tell us just a little bit about Shuyan, the character?
I can. Shuyan is a princess of this kingdom. She's a teenager. She's had everything available to her whole life. She's strong-willed and passionate and a lot of good things, but she's young and she's headstrong and a little egotistical. And her first real experience of adversity is when her kingdom is attacked and is under threat. And she has to use Kung Fu to really delve into her inner self to find the strength to protect and take care of her kingdom. So she's in this constant battle with her, I guess inner demons, although she doesn't have a lot of demons necessarily, but those little things that we struggle with on a daily basis.
Awesome. Let's see what DaXiong's up to.
He's
That's the
got
beginning.
It's just the beginning?
She has eyes.
All right, Jason. I know, and I think a couple of people have mentioned the DaXiong drawing is inspiration from China. Authenticity was really important to you throughout this process. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you approached the story and the production with that in mind?
Yeah, I think the project came from a place of really respecting the culture and wanting to pay homage to it. So, aside from the artistic side of things, where DaXiong drew inspiration from different Chinese dynasties in different regions, and there is such a diversity there within Chinese history to draw from, we also wanted to get the Kung Fu right. And a number of people on the creative team and even on the development team and design team had background in learning martial arts, so there was this intent to try and create something that wasn't just about the action combat, but that kind of showed the journey, the inner journey that comes with Kung Fu, both through the story and through the gameplay. And we were really fortunate to have this Kung Fu master, Long Fei Yang from New York, who we brought up, and he basically beat up most of our development team and showed us all the moves, and we captured all of his movements that we use in the animation. But he also has this amazing story, and if you ever look him up on YouTube, there's like 30 minutes. Look him up on YouTube. There's like this 30-minute documentary about him, and it's like straight out of a movie. He had mastered all these hard styles of Kung Fu, and then he came across his old master one day and challenged him to a fight, and he just couldn't land a punch. He said it was like punching a cloud. He just couldn't land a punch. And that led him to look at, okay, maybe there's more to this Kung Fu than just about the mastery of these hard techniques. And that involves a journey of gaining self-restraint and self-control and sort of mastering your inner self that is then reflected in your own kind of Kung Fu abilities. So we tried to capture a bit of that and bring that philosophy to the character and the story, as well as the action gameplay as well.
I think we have a video that shows some of that process.
that's so cool.
It was all writers and developers and animators. I think you mentioned in that the master-disciple thing where you're learning from masters, and Shuyan has a master in this game, and I just want to take a minute to do a video that shows that, and then Lina, I'll have a question for you about that. Lina, just tell us a little bit about what makes Shuyan Saga different than other fighting games that are out there.
Yeah, a lot of martial art games, they're based on like the action part of Kung Fu, like the moves and the techniques, and that's like one level of Kung Fu. And what we learned by working with our Kung Fu masters is that there's like another layer of Kung Fu, and that's all about cultivation and sitting meditation and working on your character to become a better Kung Fu fighter. And we try to really figure out how to put that into the mechanics of the game so that during the combat, you're not only focused on the technique, but there's also a philosophy element of Kung Fu inside the combat. And I think what the players will come out of is a genuine experience of Kung Fu.
Awesome. And Kristin, I know you've done some voice work before, but can you tell us a little bit about the difference between working in video games versus television and movies where everybody knows you from?
It's really different. I'm sure you guys all know, being on camera means you can rely on your whole self, your face, your body, your voice. You have all of these tools at your disposal. But voice acting, you only have your voice. And I am so used to having everything else. I rely on every other part of my physicality to express how I'm feeling. So it was a real struggle to get super specific and make sure that my intentions and my motivations were clear in the way that I was talking. And there's such a great team kind of monitoring what you're doing to help you get there. But it was, yeah, it's a massive difference and a totally separate skill set that I have a lot of respect for.
Let's see
it's
what
coming
DaXiong's
along.
up to.
It's looking pretty cool.
For me?
Looking good. Yeah.
Jason, just tell us a little bit about how it was a long journey to get here. The game's finally done. How does it feel to launch this game here at Fan Expo?
Well, it's a lot of fun. It's a giant relief as well. I mean, it's a long process to do this, and I mean, kudos to all the people here on the stage, even our moderator, Jared, also involved in the production. There's a lot of work that went into this, and a lot of people not on the stage wearing many different hats. I can see our technical director out there, Jesse. Yeah, there you are. Jesse, it's a great example of just wearing different hats on this project, because Jesse was our technical director. We needed someone to do a scratch track for the first commercial that you saw, the first commercial trailer at the start of this. And we just asked him to voice it temporarily. We were getting another recording, and Jesse came in, one take, and he just kind of dropped the mic, and it was awesome. And we were looking back at all the audition tapes we had from Master Shan, and we were like, you know what? I think Jesse is the best fit for this. So we cast our technical director as a Kung Fu master, and then he got to act alongside Kristin, which was pretty cool. But it's just an example of people wearing many different hats to get this done. It was a great team effort. Also, I think being a Toronto studio, it's really important to call attention to the amazing support that we have here. And if anyone is a creator who's thinking, how does someone get to make something like this? I want to just call attention to some of the great folks over at the OMDC, Kim and Aaron, who are, back this project in the early stages of proof of concept and helped to get it off the ground. We have some friends from ACTRA, I think, as well, who are wonderful to work with. Not a lot of gaming studios working with ACTRA, but trust me, we did the other approach as well, and it didn't end up in the game, so I would go with ACTRA. Great support from Interactive Ontario here as well, Krista and Lucy. If you're a young interactive studio, you should definitely be part of what they're doing. And I don't know if we have anyone here from the Canada Media Fund today, but they were a major backer of the project all the way through. So definitely, if you are a creator of any type, you should get to know these folks and how they can help you to make the content.
Great. And I think as an example of the incredible teamwork that this game has drawn, Kristin flew in yesterday. We recorded her voice.
Oh yeah.
For a brand new video that was cut this morning. So no one's seen it yet, and we want to do a special viewing of it right here with everybody today.
Let's roll it. Yeah.
You'll have to play the game to see how that fight turns out, and it's up to you as the player how that fight turns out.
You get to choose.
I do want to open it up for questions from the audience, so if anybody has questions, do we have microphones or are we shouting? There's mics on the sides? Oh, up there. Okay. If you could walk up to, there's microphones on the sides on either side. If you could walk up there, that way everybody can hear your question. And again, best question.
You come back.
You're all done? Oh, you're gonna take a break? All right.
I need a second. All right.
Okay, let's start on this side over here.
Hello, my name is Chi Hang. I didn't make it that far in the game yet, so I guess it's a bit of a spoiler, but it's okay. My question is for Kristin. I've been a fan of yours since Smallville. In the news, there's been a lot made recently of Asian roles and Asian characters that ultimately don't go to Asian performers once it reaches the TV and movie productions. As someone of mixed heritage, how do you balance the juggle of an actor's need for work versus taking on roles that show representation of your Chinese background?
I was just talking about this earlier today. It's interesting. Earlier in my career, back when I was doing Smallville, where I played Caucasian, I didn't think about this as deeply as I do now. I played a role as a Muslim Pakistani girl that I would never do now. I'm happy I did it, but I would never take that role at this point in my life. I have said now, if I'm playing something in modern times, I'm always going to play my heritage. So for the last, like my first show on the CBC, I played half Chinese.
Edgemont.
Edgemont. And then for Street Fighter, they made the character half Chinese. And then for the role that I'm doing now, I'm half Chinese, and Beauty and the Beast, I was half Chinese. So I think that now I am in a position where I can ensure that I play my heritage and that actors are cast in those roles so that we have that representation, because we really do, we need it.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. Over here.
Hello, Kristin.
Hello.
What would you say is your biggest challenge acting-wise and voiceover?
Biggest challenge. I mean, that's a hard question, but I think for me, really it's like finding very specific characters. I think that I tend to fall into myself a lot, which isn't bad necessarily. I just love to be able to embody character better. As a voice actor, I have so much to learn. I feel like I just do it and I don't understand the skill set. But I would like to get more and more specific in my choices.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go on this side.
Hi, so my question is for Miss Kristin. Basically, you've had a long career with many fantastic roles. With a career like that, you have to look back into all those roles. Do you ever look back and think which one is your favorite role? Like, your favorite moment? I
have shows I've done that were my favorite experiences. Like I loved working on Ben-Hur. That was like so much fun for me. There are shows that I'm most proud of, but everything I've done has kind of shaped my life. And you know, Edgemont was my first show. I was a kid. I'd never done anything, and I was terrified. Smallville was my first big show, and I grew up on it. So like, it's weird because they're kind of meshed with my life experiences, and I can't undo that for some reason.
So you'd say it shaped you as a person?
Yes, massively. Yeah, I would be in school, in an auditorium, hiding in the back row, silent, and not talk to anybody for the rest of my life. That's what I would have been. Would have been very good at writing essays. but really terrible at engaging with people.
Not a bad path, writing essays.
No, I think it's a great path. I love writing essays. But
Do it all the time.
yes, but you know what I mean. I think that for me, being so shy, choosing acting and having to do this and meet people and be on set and engage with people really helped me to kind of climb out of that restrictive shell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Valerie, I'm from Montreal, and I've already played the first chapter of Shuyan Saga, and I really liked it, so I'm definitely going to continue playing. What I wanted to point out from the first chapter, I don't think this is a spoiler, so I'm going to ask the question, is that Shuyan is very protected as an individual. She wants to fight, but people don't necessarily put her in situations where she would. And there is this instance where she's in the market and there's this big dude that's fighting and she wants to go, her friends are saying no. But all that changes when the kingdom gets attacked and her parents are no longer in position to take decisions and she takes on that role. That reminded me a lot of Lana in Smallville. She started out as a character who needed protection. Clark was always there to go save her. She was unaware of the dangers that she was facing. But that changes drastically when she finds out the secret and she marries Lex, and then she makes these decisions that, all right, I'm married to this person, but I have to do something because this is getting out of hand. So my question is, there's a huge intake of responsibility that came in for Lana in Smallville, but I think also for Shuyan. And how do you go about acting, and does this affect your take on your own life with the amount of responsibility that you suddenly have?
Interesting. I think I've been thinking about this a bunch today because I keep getting shown parallels between things that I've done, and I think a part of it is just growing up. So you're playing growing up. Like when you're a kid, your parents take care of everything. Like if I just pull it down to the most simple story, your parents are there, they feed you, they take care of you, and then you're kind of thrust into the world, and you have to identify who you are, what you stand for, how are you going to fight for it, and if you're going to feel okay about yourself while you do it. And I think that's what both those characters were going through. Acting-wise, I think it's just getting in touch with what that feels like, which is scary but empowering, and yeah, I think it's a common story that people can relate to.
Well, thank you, and I think it's really great to see female characters both on TV and in video games suddenly change into those positions of power. So
Agreed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I really liked you from Smallville, and I genuinely think that you're like the most beautiful woman on this earth.
That's very, very nice.
But yeah, I have a question for the whole team. I think what sets this game apart is that it's so unique in its style. It has like a watercolor vibe, and it's like the design aspect is really cool. And for me, I'm an aspiring production designer. I was just wondering how you guys decided on that really unique style, and if you have any tips for me.
DaXiong, I think you should comment on art advice. If you take my advice in art, you...
My English is not good. I don't understand too much. You should answer that first and then translate.
Yeah, Masha can translate. So you start with why you made the decision to bring on DaXiong.
Okay. So, I mean, when you're looking at the art style for anything, it's about the audience and what your property is about and who you're trying to communicate with. And in this case, I mean, we started from the angle of comics, and we started with that because we were working with an amazing comic artist, and it just made a lot of sense. But then in terms of the specifics of the look, it relates to the story, and because this is something where we're trying to pay homage to the Chinese traditions and the culture, DaXiong was pulling from different aspects of different dynasties in different areas. So I think whenever you're making decisions artistically about what you're looking for, in a property that you're creating, it's tied to the narrative and the story that you're trying to tell. You're creating that world both through the storytelling and also through the visual aspect. They have to go together. But if I can't give you any advice on how to build your career as an artist.
所以大雄他的问题就是他是一个时尚的设计师，他想问你，你是怎么决定不同的人物穿什么样的服装，有什么样的服饰，这是怎么决定的？
The Chinese traditional people, they wear the very long dress, they move slowly. It's not like a game. Game must be quickly. And so I choose the people is from the Han Dynasty. Han Dynasty is not very high level like that. It's 2,000 years ago. So they have the very simple drawings, not like a very too much detail. And 这是一个我们需要的要阐述的一个现象，就是说它要更贴近于现代人的装束，而不是尊重传统的装束，因为传统装束穿起来一件很多很复杂。
Okay, so DaXiong said the traditional Chinese costumes many layers and very long, so it's not suitable for kung fu games. So he also added some modern elements when he designed the costumes.
还有就是说，游戏呢更注重就是说它的颜色的区别性，就是说在颜色上要明显看出来主人公是什么样的，反派是什么样的，在主要在色彩上区别开。
Also, he tried to highlight the different characters, the good guys and bad guys, try to distinguish them from different colors. For example, for the protagonist, Shuyan, the Kung Fu princess, he used a very bright yellow to highlight this is the main character.
还要让他们便于他们记住它，便于使用它，这是一个很重要的特点。
And also, when he chose the color, he kept in mind that he wanted people to make it easier for people to remember the images.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hi, Kristin. Thanks for coming today and for all of you for coming to the Fan Expo. It's great to have you here. The question I have for you is, Kristin, is as an actress, I just was curious as to how much input you had, with the script for your characters in any of the shows, especially Smallville. If it ever was going one direction, if you had anything to say to go this way.
The later in my career you get, the more say I have. Smallville, I had very little say. I had no experience, so really I shouldn't have had any say. But the show that I'm doing right now, Burden of Truth, I'm heavily involved in all of the creative and what we're doing and the stories we're telling. So it just depends on the project. Like this project, I didn't have any say, but I didn't ask to have any say. These guys had it all figured out, and I really loved the story. I thought it was beautiful. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Let's come back over here.
Hi, Kristin. My name is Claudia. I'm cosplaying Raven today from Teen Titans, but my name's Claudia.
Okay.
So my question is your work on Smallville and Beauty and the Beast. Is there something you learned from those two TV shows that you brought to this game that you wouldn't have applied if you hadn't done those two TV shows?
The first thing I think of when you ask that question is yes. I mean, everything I've learned as an actor has come with me to do this. I couldn't have done this without making all the mistakes that I've made and done all of that on all those shows. But I think that's the main thing. I think it's all really boring answer, but it's all skill set stuff, like just learning how to achieve the end you're trying to achieve, like express the emotion you're trying to convey and do that successfully so that you as an audience member can feel that.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Kristin. First of all, it's a privilege being here and being able to ask you these questions.
Thank you.
I just want to tell you you're amazing. I've been following you since Edgemont and even Smallville, obviously. I'm a big fan. And I know you had a lot of takes on action roles through your career, starting with Lana, especially after marrying Lex.
Yeah.
You had the badass moments after that. And basically Chun-Li. And I just want to know your take if ever Shuyan goes to a live action movie. I just want to know your take on it and because I think you'd be perfect for the role, not just as a voice actor, but especially as a.
The main limitation with this is that she's 17 and I am almost 35.
You look gorgeous for 35, by the way.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be amazing. You know, let's say that she's like gone through some trials and tribulations and she's a little older. Then totally, I think that it'd be a great fit. I think it'd be a great movie. So you guys start working on that.
That'd be actually awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna go rapid fire now, okay?
Rapid fire?
Yeah. Well,
What does that mean?
we only have a few minutes left. I want to get through. I want to see if we can get through everybody.
questions.
All right, so I'll stop talking and we'll go over here.
Hi, I'm Dylan. I'm from Pickering, which is
Yeah.
if you're not from here.
I know
it's
where
just
Pickering is.
Okay. I've got a design question for the entire team. Well, this echo is, yeah, I get what you're talking about. This echo is really messing with me. So about the main antagonist, you've got the big bad, but like as far as designing his character, like is like what went into kind of conceptualizing him as more than just a two-dimensional cartoon villain, like no motivations, no redeeming qualities, just like an evil for the hero to destroy?
Well, so we're talking about Gambitar, the villain. So his driving force is this thirst for power, and that basically you find out that he has this spirit possession by this red dragon, and he basically that's his quest. He wants to conquer the entire world and rule it completely. And we based so the gore we based them on the character design that went into it. It was based from Mongolian dress and Mongolian history, so it was DaXiong can talk more about how you design the characters for Gambitar.
You know, the Han dynasty is more like the farmer. The Gambit, yeah, farmers. The Gambitar is like the machine. Is the original idea, concept is this machine people and they're fighting with the farmer people. I don't know, is that right? Yeah, is that I think.
I mean, I think the other thing to look at just about, whether it's kind of this two-dimensional bad guy with no motive, there's a backstory with him too, and actually I think in future iterations of the property we may be able to explore, like that kingdom, the Guar kingdom, they play this antagonizing force towards Shuyan and her journey, but they have their own story as well. They have one of their mythical protective spirits as well that has kind of overseen their people. And there's a story with Gambitar about how he became who he was as well and led to this. So.
Yeah. Buy the game and we'll be able to make more of them, to give more of that story.
I've already got my copy.
All right, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks. All right.
Do I have to pick a question?
Do we have any
No,
more
we
time?
can do a couple more.
we can, okay.
Yeah. But I want to that was the least rapid of all the rapid fire. So let's go.
Okay, hi Kristin, my name's Yelena, and since this is rapid fire, I'll try to make this really fast, although talking fast doesn't work in my favor. But I love the game, and I think you did an incredible job voice acting, but I was wondering, were there ever like any bloopers while you were in the booth, or any funny moments? Because sometimes when I talk fast, I guess you mess up a lot.
I'm sure there are. I don't know if they're around.
Yeah, we're holding on to them.
Oh, well, apparently they exist, so maybe they'll be released at some point. Yes, I always mess up. There are always bloopers.
You can't face her. You can't face her. She's always a sport about everything.
Over here.
Hey, Kristin. This is Kirk from Chicago. First off, I just wanted to say thanks for being an inspiration to me personally and many other fans. I think you're one of the most compassionate and empathetic people I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you.
And I know you like to stay out of the spotlight, but I just want you to know that it doesn't go unnoticed. So my question is this. Of all the characters you've ever played, from Lana Lang to Catherine Chandler to even Shuyan, which one do you admire and relate to the most? And who do you have winning in a fight between Shuyan and Chun-Li?
It's funny because they go through a similar journey, because they're both on like kung fu journeys. Okay, I'll do the fight question. I'm gonna say Shuyan will win.
Yeah.
That's what we're going with here.
That is the right answer.
And most inspirational, you know, I think Lana's quite inspirational. I think she made a massive transition over the years of that show, and that's the person who comes to mind the most right now. So yes.
All right, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Let's go over here.
Hi, Kristin. My question is, what challenged you personally about the character Shuyan, and was there anything between her and you that kind of parallels, like, with your life?
Well, I think that with her journey, she's definitely, like, it's all about looking internally and finding the areas where you're, I guess weak, but I don't mean like weak, you know what I mean, not like weak in that sense, but, and overcoming that. And I think that I'm always, at least I hope I'm always doing that. And that is always a challenge, to be like, where am I an ass in my life, and how do I treat people poorly or myself poorly, and how do I overcome that? I mean, it's a simplification, but I think that's sort of what she's doing in a much more grand way.
All right, we are almost out of time, and I know you're standing at the mic, but I think it takes a lot of courage for a young person to get up and ask a question. So if we could toss the mic over to this young guy over here.
Hey guys, my name's Mark from Toronto. My little guy, Logan, is really scared. He said Kristin's really pretty, so now he's getting shy. But he has a question for you guys, so I'm starting him off. So Logan, take over, buddy.
What's your favorite video game other than this one?
Okay, Logan, I'm going to disappoint you massively because I don't play video games. But, I'm sorry, but I do love Tetris. What's your favorite video game?
Zelda.
Oh, Zelda? I know Zelda. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Because we're going to get kicked off stage, and I want to give everybody some details about where to go and do everything. So I'm really sorry for everybody who's still lined up.
Do I have to pick a question?
Oh, you do need to pick a question. If you have a question that isn't for Kristin, because I kicked you out of your spot in line, you can ask your question while Kristin thinks really hard about what's the best question, but you're out of the running.
That's complicated. Go ahead, ask
Did I make it too complicated? All right, go ahead and ask your question.
Is it okay if I ask a question for Kristin?
No.
All right, go quick.
Sorry, I'm from Vancouver, and I just want to know what you miss from home.
Oh, I miss the smell. I miss the ocean and the mountains and the beautiful, beautiful smell of the fresh air.
All right, if your question's that simple, you can ask a question too.
No pressure. My name is Rapid Fire now. So the question is this. It could be for the whole team, it could be for Kristin. And thank you for coming. I'll also do this quick. I'm more into questioning about the process as an actor. So in other words, when Kristin went to Shuyan, was she more like a method actor that would assume a role right away and would continue being that Shuyan until the end of the video game was completed, so she probably kicked and beat up everybody there already.
Yeah,
I just want to know what was the process and the reflection the whole group got out of it. And yeah, that was it.
No, she was.
I am so the farthest from a method actor you'll ever meet. Probably. I don't know for sure.
She's awesome to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, the least drama, the easiest, the coolest, the funnest. So yeah.
So many things.
So many things.
And the growth as a whole team, because everybody took part in this.
This project is really cool because I think that it is it's not a massive company. People get really involved. Everyone's hands-on. Like Jason was saying, people take on multiple roles, and that's really fun. It's like doing an indie film.
Thank you very much.
All right, you can think for a little while about your favorite question. I got to get through some information slides real quick while we get through stuff here. Again, we want everybody to, number one, download the game. It's on Steam, and we're really excited about it, and we need you to buy it. Two, you should come over to our booth, because our booth is awesome, and we have cool stuff there for sale. And yeah, we've got the soundtrack. We have this amazing soundtrack also by a local composer. It's really, really cool.
It's really good.
Posters, all sorts of things. And we're doing photos there with Kristin from 4:30 to 5:30. And I know that during the photos...
By the way, DaXiong created some original posters just for this event.
Yes.
First time they've been available, and they're gorgeous, so come and grab those. Yep. And he will sign them for you. He's in Artist Alley.
Yeah, and he's in Artist Alley, so if you bring anything over to his table in Artist Alley, he'll sign it for you. Okay, if we can get to the lineup stuff that shows everybody where the booth is. So there's our booth. Across from our booth is Hasbro. That's the big thing across from us, but you can see where Shuyan is there. But if you were getting photos, you don't line up there, actually. You're going to line up, next slide, there. That's if you bought the red wristband, and then if you bought the blue wristband, boom! It's pretty easy. Somebody will be there and show you where to line up.
Man, good luck, guys.
It's complicated, it's really crowded there, so that's why we want everybody to line up there according to your wristband, and then we'll just take people over in groups to get the photos. That way we don't lose anybody and everything can stay fairly orderly. Also, when you're taking photos, everybody's super excited. There's also a lot of people. There's a professional photographer there, so we're not doing like selfies. Professional photographer will take the photo, and then you'll get the details on where you get it online afterwards. And we just want to get as many photos as possible, so nobody trying to get their own things or anything like that. And the posters that you get with it are already signed. So
that's for the red wristband photos.
That's the red wristband. Yeah. Please don't ask her to sign other things, because then less people can get photos. And I felt bad enough that some people didn't get questions asked today, so don't put me in that position again.
Wow.
I'm not blaming you guys. This is really awesome that more people wanted to ask questions than we had time for. Let's see. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting? Yeah, you pick up your autograph poster on the way out. We'll put all the photos up online, and then you get a link emailed to you with them. Jason, am I forgetting anything?
No, just a thank you to everyone. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for making stuff like this possible.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, one final thing. DaXiong drew a picture.
Yes. Okay, so everyone asked really wonderful questions, really good questions. Love them all. I forget your name, but the young woman who asked the design question.
Yeah, she played to the artists. There you go. Come up here and first, Kristin and DaXiong, you guys both give it a signature.
Oh,
and then we'll hand it over. So come on up.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, show everybody.
Yeah, it's the translated way. The name is Kristin Shuyan. Yeah.
Okay, you sign it.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
With reference.
Voila.
Oh, I'm not really saying. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, send two.
Oh well.
There we go. One more time for Kristin Kreuk and the team at Shuyan.